Hey heroes, welcome to another episode of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Today we are covering chapters 8 and 9. Joining me, as always, is my friend Isaac Wolf. Isaac, Vigilantes has been an interesting read because it's a prequel and a spinoff. But I've been having fun with the series so far. These next two chapters we're about to cover are pretty interesting, just for like the character building with our main cast. First off, how you been enjoying Vigilante so far?
I enjoyed it more than I expected to do when we first started this, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like I don't know what your expectations were going into it, but it is a really fun series, and it's really cool. It's kind of got that Marvel aspect to it, where it's like you have our big event, like Avengers films, right, which is My Hero proper at this point in that story. But then you have over here, we're doing the street level, like Hawkeye, Daredevil type of stories, which I think is a cool balance um, in tone and adventure and scale and everything like that. So it really makes Vigilantes really refreshing after, like, we just did our My Hero coverage for 338. It's really cool coming from that back down to like street level crime and Yakuza and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's if it's sometimes necessary to have a just it's time to breathe, take a step back, and just going going from start, if that makes any sense. Yes, it's annoying with constant reboot and all that. Yes, speaking of comics, but that's why it's always nice to have something along the lines that you can read stories that is more grounded and all that. Yes,
Yeah,
if that
definitely.
makes any sense.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Guys, if you haven't been reading My Hero Academia Vigilantes, I know we are way behind on the current stuff, but if you haven't read it at all, this is a spoiler warning for chapters 8 and 9, and of course the chapters before that as well, because we might be talking things that happened in the past. So this is your warning to head out and join us once you are caught up with where we are currently for our next episode. This is the last episode of the year, I believe, for Vigilantes, right? Because we're going on Christmas and New Year's break.
Yeah,
So we'll be
yeah.
back in 2022 talking some more Vigilantes. And again, as Isaac shares his image here, just in case you're still here and you're not caught up on Vigilantes, we'll catch you next time.
I love
So
how I actually found a pun that was actually fitting the scenario.
I love how I just so easily pivot to it. Like we did not rehearse any of this. It's just okay, that comes up. Let's do this, right? We've got that chemistry at this point. Oh
Agreed.
man. So Vigilantes chapter 8 is simply titled Him. And that's not the Powerpuff Girls villain, him. That is just him. And we'll discuss that in a second here. So, in this chapter, it's a very low key chapter, which I really enjoyed, honestly, more than I thought I would as it was going. Pop and Koichi are hanging out at the apartment, and the two are like casually talking about his special edition All Might hoodie. Right, it's his hero costume. He's fixing it and sewing it. Um, Very Peter Parker esque. Again, we keep mentioning that of like how he has to fix his own suits and fix the battle damage and try and keep them in good condition. And Pop doesn't understand why he cares so much about this cheap hoodie. We find out that it's not cheap. It's like a really important fan memorabilia from each generation of All Might, and a different one comes out every single year, which I think is really cool. And now explains why there's so many Deku's in Deku's closet, so many like All Might hoodies and shirts and Funko Pops. It's like, yeah, they do this like once a year clean sweep of new stuff, right? And all the fanboys have to stock up on it. Um, but as the story goes on, we learn that one of Koichi's hoodies was lost, essentially because he gave it to a boy he saved from drowning on his way to take his hero exam, which is why he never got into a hero school. And 2, we later learned that this boy he saved wasn't a boy, and it was actually Pop Step, who was saved by Koichi when she was younger. And she knew this entire time. It's not like she discovered that this was Koichi, which I really thought was cool, as opposed to like doing the, oh, she discovers this and blah, blah, blah. No, she knew the entire time, and she's just been wondering how to thank him, show her appreciation, talk to him about it. And I thought it was really cool for her character to kind of see like, she's not just hanging around just for the sake of it. She actually is here, and she's trying to figure out how to open up to Koichi about this moment. He was basically her All Might, right? We say that a lot during this entire series of My Hero Academia and spinoffs, but it's like he's the one who saved her and kind of inspired her to walk this vigilante path with him and Knuckle Duster. So I know I've been rambling a lot about this chapter, but what were your thoughts, Isaac, on chapter 8, him?
Well, it's all connected. I mean, it's all connected. And also, it made me... I want to eat some pudding now.
Yeah, like what was this from Knuckle Duster talking about like pudding is a girl's snack? One, while he's eating it, but 2, it's like, dude, who doesn't like pudding? What's wrong with you? So dumb. But yeah, I like this chapter just because it's again giving us a peek into who Pop is as a character. And you mentioned before we started recording how they're not really being subtle at like hinting at a relationship between her and Koichi. I don't know if it's romantic relationship per se, at least not yet, but a friendship is certainly developing between the two and their character dynamic. And especially with the revelation of how she's looking at him like her hero, her superhero, right? It's in a similar way.
I mean, how long time was it before they when he saved her?
Yeah, that's the thing that was kind of weird to me. It's like because I assume they're very close in age, but it at times didn't feel like it with the way the art was drawn for that flashback. It was kind of weird to me.
Because if you have how should I put it? If you have seen Erased, it not that uncommon if someone like it's not so uncommon in some areas that let's say a 19-year-old gets together with a 25-year-old or something, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this could just be big brother, big sister relationship also, kind of thing. And no, I'm not meaning in the wrong way. So
yeah, no point. You trying to clear it up makes it sound even weirder. So we're just gonna move on.
There is an anime. There is an anime that I can't recall the name that where the brother and sister actually end up marrying each other, and yeah, that's a thing. And no, I don't think that's going to happen here. So
let's not get off track, bud. Oof. You don't want to fall down that particular rabbit hole.
No, we don't.
So I'm looking at the chapter again, and Koichi's wearing like a middle school uniform. Thank you, Japan, for having easily identifiable school uniforms. So Koichi's probably like 11, 13-ish, maybe. He's probably about to go to high school. And so Pop, who we do know is younger than him, if he's like 13 or so, she's probably like, I don't know, 9. Because we know he's in college and we know that she is still a high schooler. So he's like 20, so she's probably like 17-ish right now. But
yeah, that sound makes it sound all possible and to some extent, yeah.
Yeah, but I really liked like the relationship they're building with these two, because I don't know if you've been noticing, but Knuckle Duster has been kind of falling to the wayside a little bit these last like 3 chapters. And so I really appreciate that we're developing these two, because I feel like there's another story to tell with Knuckle Duster. Like there is something else about him that we don't know, and that I feel like they're going to kind of open up when we jump into his backstory. You know, like how we learn about Aizawa's backstory in My Hero Academia. We learn about Kakashi's backstory and Naruto. It's like I feel like this mentor character is gonna have more to him later, but for now, let's establish these two, and then we can like open up Knuckle Duster as we get further along in the series, and we kind of address what's going on in the next chapter. Chapter 9 is Judgment, right? So
Yeah.
that was an interesting one. I want your thoughts on this one. The Crawler and Pop Step are out fighting the same villain they fought like 2 chapters ago. And once again, we see our B villain lurking in the background. And then suddenly, Deathstroke appears, right? Some new character named Stendhal.
Which gave me... what's the hero killer's name again? Stain. He gave me Stain vibes. If we go, if we have to take some example from another My Hero Academia characters.
Yeah, he did.
Honestly.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because I felt that too, right? Especially towards the end of this chapter. So yeah, we meet Stendhal, who is basically a Deathstroke clone. Like, did you see the color page for this volume? He's on the cover of the volume you have. And
that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's just straight up Deathstroke, right?
Kinda.
Same colors and everything, which I think is, you know, it's things like this that make me realize probably why Vigilantes can't get an anime. Is like they do not want to get sued by DC and Marvel Comics.
I mean, they can do some changes, so they do. And I mean, this the villain they fought before, it also looks kind of like Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
Doomsday meets Abomination.
Yep, I can see that. I can see that. That's my point. It's like the My Hero manga had Chainsaw Man in the war arc. I don't know if you even noticed that Chainsaw Man was in like background art of a lot of panels. And so in the teaser for season 6, they had to cut him out.
I haven't seen or read Chainsaw Man, so I can't. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Chainsaw Man is in the background of like the big siege in the war arc. It's in a teaser for season 6 that was just released this weekend. Anyway, Chainsaw Man had to be changed to Handsaw Man for the anime for obvious reasons. So, you know, My Hero does that once in a while. Vigilantes has been doing that every chapter.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was just a callback or something, because manga artists love to make some reference to each other all the time.
Well, yeah, like Chainsaw Man was clearly it's the exact same character design. I don't know how he got away with it that he put in the manga panel, but the anime can't do that for legal reasons. So he's now Handsaw.
Maybe he knows the. I mean, do we know if the Horikoshi knows the mangaka of Chainsaw Man?
Yeah, Horikoshi is always talking about how much he loves Chainsaw Man, so I'm sure that they know each other by this point.
Yeah, so it could just be a reference to call a reference to it, and he got his blessing for it. And that's not nothing uncommon with the Shonen Jump manga. I mean, Oda and what's Naruto's creator's name again? They are close friends and they do reference to each other all the time. So.
Speaking of Naruto, did you notice that one of the characters here looked like the 4th Hokage, Minato?
Oh, I did.
It's just
It's
like, oh, come on,
so
guys.
it's just so much reference.
We need to start doing like a reference counter per chapter just to see how many we catch at this point, because this has happened every single chapter. Um, but you know, besides them apparently going to meet the fourth Hokage, which is a plot point. Um, we learned that Stendhal is working for uh our B character, whose name I still haven't memorized, and he's been killing her targets, which is why you like Hero Killer Stain, right? Because he's not this hero or vigilante like the others. He's going out and pulling a Stain. He's killing all these other characters, and very Deathstroke like, where he's like a hired assassin, which I think is very interesting.
And
And he's
we also have Cyclops and Wolverine from Yo-Yo's Bizarre Adventure back here also.
yeah, I feel like they're just gonna be like supporting characters at this point. This is like 4 chapters in a row they've been in. So that's didn't expect them to stick around as much as they have, but you know, cool. Build out the supporting cast. Um, we also get reintroduced to like the bully from chapter 1 that Koichi was like running away from, and he's the next target on Stendhal's list. And it's gonna be interesting that Koichi's probably going to have to save this guy, which is very Bakugo and Deku-esque from chapter 1 of My Hero Academia proper. So those
Kinda.
themes are still around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that you said it, it's probably they don't want to be sued by Marvel DC that haven't made an anime by this. Now that you mention it.
Yeah, like they're gonna be, as they say, sued up the wazoo. Because I don't know, like you can, again, like the Chainsaw Man thing is it's a background gag that you can get around, or like Dr. Mario and Dr. Toad, right, from My Hero. It's like you just change the doctor, that's fine. But like these are main integral characters that are clearly inspired by Marvel and DC Comics. I don't know how, or again, like we saw Aaron's Attack Titan. Like I don't know how you work around all of these. That's challenging.
Yeah, they need to. They need to do some Nintendo for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate type of licensing deal for doing this anime.
And it's not even worth it because this isn't My Hero Academia proper. This is a spinoff, so we have no idea how this is gonna pay off in the long run.
And yes, sure, it was a Nintendo comparison, but considering the licensing hell that came more than likely was, I thought it was the best example of it.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing beats Ultimate. But yeah, like, what are your thoughts on like this new assassin like character? I was gonna say he's like the first we've seen in the My Hero universe, but I guess there's one other character that I will not name for spoiler's sake that we met, who's also an assassin.
I mean, it's it makes sense that there are more than one Deathstroke in anime territory.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's again opening like a facet of the world that we weren't really uh sure about or even knew about from the main timeline, from the main series I should say. And so by having this assassin character basically come in, it's like that's interesting, because that is a foil that the vigilantes can take down that the heroes won't necessarily need to be involved with. Like the vigilantes aren't going to go after All for One, for example, right? Or the Hero Killer Stain, but like these assassins that pop up that a lot of characters probably didn't even know existed is a really cool like playground for the vigilantes to like play in to keep them away from the main series. because there would be some overlap over time, especially like in season 4 of My Hero Academia. They're looking for people who's been using Trigger, which is a major plot point of this series. So it's like you think they would have ran into the vigilantes then, but there's going to be some overlap. So I'm glad that we're like establishing new characters and ideas to this world that allows them to stay in their own pocket. We even learned that they're in Tokyo, which is interesting. I don't is UA in Tokyo, Japan? Like, do we know that?
I don't. I don't remember.
Because I'm not sure they're even in the same city. That was like I think that was the first time Tokyo's been mentioned in the entire franchise. Like we know locations like Dagobah, Tatooine, Jakku, all those Star Wars referenced locations that Horikoshi threw in there. But I don't know what city this show took place in. So that was kind of a nice detail. Maybe they're not even in the same city.
I will. But yeah, it shall be interesting to see how they solve it, because I'm just scared that they would go full bonkers with this series and just okay, this fits the regular series, but how the hell would this fit? Sure, it fits within the universe, but how the hell are they supposed to do anything against this? They aren't exactly class 1A, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what's really interesting. Even like the last couple chapters when we met in Genium, like seeing Koichi use his quirk and learn how to use his quirk is something that was really fun with Deku early on. Is like, how do you master this power? But on the flip side, Deku had to master the greatest power in the world. Koichi has to master one of the weaker quirks we've seen in the entire series. So that presents a new set of challenges of how do you handle these superpowered threats when all you can do is slide at like 3 miles per hour half the time. you know? Or even Pop Step is like her quirk is to jump really high. How does that help her? How will she learn how to use that in rescue or in battle? And so I like that aspect of this story and like trying to develop that a little bit. Having this new character show up and like save them from the villain that they were fighting was really cool because it's like, okay, how do they level up so that they don't have to keep being saved by Eraserhead, by Ingenium, by Stendhal, you know? I'm just excited to kind of see where these characters go and where they progress in their abilities and their drive to become, heroes in their own right.
Yeah, and I know that I mentioned that before, but the longer I read it, the more I honestly at least would like to see some cameo of these three in the main manga before it ends actually.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the My Hero manga is going to be ending in roughly a year's time. So I'm with you on one hand. It'd be cool to see them show up on the other. I kind of don't want to until we get caught up.
Yeah,
Because if any
fair point.
characters die or if they lose an eye or something, like I don't want that spoiled for me because My Hero Academia shoehorned them in at some point in the series.
Fair point.
It's a
Fair point.
it's a selfish point, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now. It's kind of like how they rearranged the order of events in My Villain Academia in the anime, and that forced spoilers. Like we see Toga alive, and we do a flashback, and the entire plot hinges on Toga might be dying, and it's like it doesn't destroy anything, but it kind of ruins a really important moment for those characters and where they're at in their headspace.
Pretty much. Pretty
Yep.
much. Or at least getting a reference by the remaining pro heroes could be cool.
Yeah, like I can see them referencing the vigilante. Like I'm sure Aizawa's probably gonna, or even Tsukuichi, right? Tsukuichi's prominent in vigilantes, but also he still crosses into the My Hero world with All Might and those characters. They might mention him from time to time if the plot calls for it. Depends how much Horikoshi likes the series, because it's kind of like how Kevin Feige views the Netflix and ABC Marvel shows. It's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with you guys.
No comment. You know why.
Yes, because we can't wait to see Daisy Johnson join, and the rest of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. join the MCU proper. Jokes aside,
I
is
was
there anything
talking
else with...
specifically of. I was talking about one specific part of it all.
Yeah. I know. I'm just not feeding into any spoiler discussions. So, do you
Yeah,
have
fair
anything
point.
else on these two chapters that you wanted to cover?
No, not really, because, like you said prior, it's not that this chapter aren't that big, so there isn't that much. It's not nothing. How should I put it? It's nothing that you can have a hour-long debate over.
I don't understand how people waited. Like this series is like I think like bi-weekly or so. I don't know how you guys wait every 2 weeks to get one chapter. Like I reading two of these, I still feel like I want to read more. Elevator, huh, huh, huh.
Yeah.
So random. You couldn't let this be the last episode of the year without it being some sort of chaos going on, right? Even if it's minor.
I'm an agent. I'm an agent of chaos. Uh, Loving hopes and dreams.
Okay. Isaac, I know you guys may have a little bit more coming up on this channel as we close out 2021. Was there anything you wanted to plug or let the folks know about?
I don't know how it's gonna be because Brandon is sick right now, but we are planning to do something about with Demon Slayer season 2. Hopefully we're going. He is currently doing. We are soon back to doing more JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We are planning to do a commentary track of Ninja Resurrection, which just will fry his brain. So that will be a lot of fun. And well, next year we have Attack on Titans, which hopefully you, me, and Brandon is going to cover. So
Eden Yeager. One more time, right?
that shall be interesting to cover.
That'll
And
be
well,
a
we
heck
also
of a
have fun.
conclusion.
Yeah, it shall be interesting to see how the anime only react to the last part of the anime, but that's besides the point. Yeah, and I have some stuff working for the Wabam site that's almost done, hopefully, but it's a lot going on.
Sweet.
And well, you can find the pod over at Twitter's over at the Amateur Talk Pod on Twitter, and you can find my Twitter on the on Emblemaniac on Twitter, and you can find my you can find always stuck in Speed Force Brandon Alvarado on the Scarlet Fan 52.
Sweet. You can find me at Not a Cinephile. Find our good friend Leo Rydell at Leo_Rydell and Geekly Goods. We got so much stuff coming for you guys in 2022. It's going to be a blast. Thanks for making us a part of your 2021. It's been fun talking to you, My Hero Academia, Vigilantes, Demon Slayer, Mugen Train, all this great stuff we've been doing over here at this channel. Cowboy Bebop, Paprika. We had a lot of great bangers of episodes this year. So if you guys need to go and catch up on the backlog, do that as well. But just again, thanks for making us a part of your 2021. It's been a blast. Have a happy holiday. We will catch you guys in 2022 with My Hero Vigilantes chapters 10 and 11. Should be a fun time.
Yeah.
Have it awesome, guys.
Happy midsummer. Bye bye.
Plus Ultra.